Good afternoon. I call the Senate Committee on Veterans, Military Affairs, and Pensions to order. There's not a quorum, so we're going to operate as a subcommittee. No, we have a quorum. So, Matt, would you please call the roll?
Senators Black, Gannon, Bratton, Eigel, McCreary, Roberts, Schroer.
Thank you. We have established quorum. We will start the committee today by hearing Senate Bill 1404, sponsored by Senator Roberts. Senator, please begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon. I'm Steve Roberts, State Senator from Missouri's 5th District. I want to thank the Chair and members of the committee for affording me the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1404, which provides a simple measure for aiding the managers of the pension funds of the St. Louis City firefighters. Presently, St. Louis City's firefighters' pensions are managed through two separate pension funds, the Firemen's Retirement System of St. Louis and the Firefighters' Retirement of the City of St. Louis. The former is established through state statute and city ordinance and provides benefits for firefighters hired before February 1st, 2013, and the salary earned as of that date, while the latter was established by the City of St. Louis ordinance effective February 1st, 2013, and removed some of the control from the firefighters themselves and put more of that control in the City of St. Louis. What Senate Bill 1404 does is return control of the funds to the firefighters and allows them to be more efficiently managed. We've got some witnesses here today who are here to speak to their need and how this would help them, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Senator Roberts. Does anybody have any questions? No, thank you. Witness in favor, please come forward. Let's please, as we provide testimony today, remember we need to fill out the information and leave it laying on the desk as you leave. Please state your name and begin when you're ready.
My name is Daniel Clark. First off, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the committee for allowing me to speak today in favor of Senate Bill 1404. I am the president of the Firefighters Local 73. I'm also a 17-year firefighter assigned to Rescue Squad 1 in the city of St. Louis. I'll start off a little history of the firefighters' pension systems in St. Louis. So up until 2013, all firefighters belonged to the Firemen's Retirement System, or as I call them, FRS. Then, after a court ruling under the Slay administration, the city was allowed to freeze that system and create a new system called the Firefighters Retirement Plan, or FRP. So pension-wise, that created two active pension systems moving forward with three groups of employees, all with different benefit structures. So to be clear, this is not a multi-tiered pension system that you would commonly see anywhere else, where pension costs might have gone up and they created a new tier for new employees to help save money. Our members are in two completely separate active systems. Any member that was hired before 2013 that wants to plan out their retirement will have to go separately to both pension offices, take those figures, take those actuarial numbers, try to put those together, and then plan their retirement moving forward. We've researched our unique situation around the country, and what we found, we're the only group of employees, not public safety, any employees in the whole country that we found that are in two active systems like this. We have not found anywhere else. This most importantly puts a hardship on our members trying to plan their retirement, but it also creates a higher cost to the city due to duplications of pretty much everything: staff, accountants, actuaries, money managers, etc., throughout any of the systems. Some issues some of our members have had with the FRP system over the years: they've consistently been unable to maintain full staffing. They've gone through 4 different accountants in the last 2 years. The long-term plan manager has just recently retired, so instead of filling that position, the FRP now shares a plan manager with the ERS system, which is the employee retirement system. Just recently, we've had members report that the office hasn't answered the phone for over 2 weeks. Now that has been fixed. They are answering the phone again. But even more recently than that, I believe last week, we had a member go down to the office to retire and was told that he can't retire this week because somebody's on vacation. Come back next week. One of the more concerning problems that we've dealt with in the past, Fire Captain John Kemper suffered a heart attack fighting a fire on July 5th, 2017. He passed away due to complications on July 12th. Because Fire Captain John Kemper didn't die at the fire scene, we had to fight the FRP board for him to be considered a line of duty death and get his family the benefits that they deserved. And that's all due to how the FRP plan was originally written by the city. So that's obviously one of the biggest issues we've had. Luckily, it's only happened once. We hope it doesn't happen again. But it is still something that could happen again. We've passed legislation. In the city, Board Bill 146. We passed that 11-3-1, which the mayor has vetoed. We're confident that we'll be able to override that veto in the near future here. The mayor's concerns, which I'm sure you're going to hear from today, is, at least from what she said publicly, is this will increase pension costs, in turn hurting the city's bond rating, and also this will somehow take away local control. To speak to these concerns, the legislation back in the city that was presented to you and the legislation that we're presenting to you today have no benefit increases. They actually save the city money. It's very identical if you're familiar with the PRS Peers plan. It was the teachers and all the other people that worked in the schools. I think it was like 60 years ago. They took their two plans, put them together. They're managed somewhat separately, but it's by one system. They've saved a ton of money. They're doing quite well. We're looking to do something very similar to that. Sorry, I got lost. None of this legislation impacts any local control. Board Bill 146 keeps the city ordinance intact, which continues to give the mayor and the Board of Aldermen sole authority to make changes to the FRP pension system whenever they deem necessary without any oversight from any other legislators. Another concern that has been brought up in the past, and one of the driving factors to create the FRP, was because of disabilities being out of control under the old FRS system. There's nothing more important to our members than having a healthy retirement to be able to depend on. So to address these concerns, through 146 in that bill, we created a sub-panel to control disabilities, and that would be city controlled. So that would be separate completely from any of the regular pension boards. In closing, and to put it in its simplest words, Senate Bill 1404 would allow for firefighters' retirement system, the old system as we'll call it, to be allowed to manage the firemen's retirement plan, or the new system, which will give more accountability to the hardworking men and women of the St. Louis Fire Department. And why we're here today, just a little history on FRS. FRS is the oldest publicly funded pension system in Missouri. It was started in 1885. So when they started, there were really no rules on this. So it's stuck through there all the way through. You know, if you look at ERS, which I think is the next oldest system in the city, that was back when the city then could enable their own legislation for this. FRS did this before all of it, and it's stuck here. So that's why we're here today asking for FRS to be allowed to manage another plan. So I thank you, and I would love to answer any questions.
Any questions of the witness? Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. So I live in St. Louis County, so I've been following this a little bit just because the Post-Dispatch has had coverage off and on through the years. Do you have any sense of, like, I see there's a bit of a clash, if you will, between the Board of Aldermen and the mayor. Do you have any thoughts on if that's, how that might impact what we're trying to do with this legislation?
So this legislation actually, whether 146 was passed in the city, and let's just say this was passed here,
Okay.
it wouldn't affect what's happening in the city at all.
Okay.
This could sit on the books, and then one day down the road, if the city decides they wanted to do this, we did pass it, then it could take effect. If you guys pass this today, or not today,
Yeah.
rather, if you pass this, it would just sit on the books, and it would be there if it ever moved forward.
Okay, very good.
So I don't think there would be any effect for this to that.
Okay. I appreciate you saying that, because one of the things that we try to do is be respectful of local control and that kind of thing. But that being said, sometimes people have to come to the legislature for guidance, help, clarity.
Yeah,
that
that's why I
kind of
give
thing, so.
the oldest system in because, you know, they started in 1885. Again, they were the first publicly funded system. So I think a lot of the pension rules that came about here in the state started with them. So that's why we're here.
Well, in this committee, we hear from that pension all the time. They're
Yeah.
here pretty much every week. So, yep, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the witness? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else testify in favor?
I also
Of-
have a letter from a recent retiree that I wanted to see if I could submit on some issues he's been having going through retirement with both of the systems.
Okay, you can give that to the sender,
Okay.
or he will give it to us, and we'll make sure it's distributed.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else to testify in favor of Senate Bill 1404? Anyone testify in opposition of Senate Bill 1404? Please state your name and begin when you're ready.
Let me try that again. Good afternoon. Jared Boyd. I serve as Chief of Staff in the Mayor of the City of St. Louis office, and here in opposition to Senate Bill 1404. We recognize that our firefighters and other first responders are key to a safe St. Louis, but want to provide some historical context for the pension reforms that were enacted a little over a decade ago. From 2001 to 2013, St. Louis fire pension costs quadrupled, going from $6.4 million to $29.1 million in 12 years, and consumed up to a third of the fire department's operating budget. So as you know, with budgets, there are a lot of competing interests. They're the interest of the current employees, they're the operating interest of picking up trash, responding to police, and taking care of our retirees. So balancing all of these things. So as the pension cost quadrupled, the former mayor had to make some difficult decisions and pushed about a pension reform that resulted in the two systems that we're talking about today. So while having two different systems is unique, it has resulted in significant cost savings since those two pensions have gone into place. So the last year that we had one single system, our pension costs were about $29.1 million. Today, those pension costs are, as of last year, are about half of that. And pensions are very complicated, and I'm actually here on other business and testifying on this matter, so I will not offer myself as an expert in pensions, but do know that our pension reforms helped enact cost savings because under the new pension system, they're required to use competitive procurement. They're required to have employees that are civil servants. So there are protections that are part of the new pension system. So while it may, I think dealing with government sometimes does not feel as efficient as it could be, but that is because there are guardrails for competitive procurement, for not being able to place folks in employment that may have conflicts of interest. So with all of that said, we do feel as if the current system does strike a balance between providing retirement benefits and containing costs that grew to consume 1/3 of the firefighters' budget and quadrupled over 12 years. So with that, again, think that this is a challenging and complicated issue. We want to support our first responders, but we're also tasked with the responsibility of managing an entire budget, managing a lot of interest in the city of St. Louis. So for those reasons, we oppose this bill.
I have one question, and maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention to your testimony, but I think you stated you believe this is going to skyrocket expenses, and I threw the word skyrocket in, but increase expenses on the retirement system quite a bit. But I don't remember you stating why it would cause that increase. Okay, I mean, you talked a little bit about who people could hire, et cetera, and procurement within certain rules, but the change from half, which I was figuring somewhere around 14 million, back to 29 million, if that was the number used. What is going to cause that explosion with this piece of legislation that ultimately the city has to also come into play with, correct? So please tell me where those costs are at.
Thank you for that question, Chair. And I think the cost, I am not here to state on the record that next year, if this legislation and local legislation were passed, that we'd see a $14 million escalation in cost. What I am saying is that from a historic standpoint, under the previous system, costs quadrupled over the course of 12 years. And that was due in part to disability decisions that may not have been prudent, actuarial assumptions, procurement issues, and the reforms that were put in place started to curb some of those costs that had continued to escalate. So we do have I can't say that disabilities cost this much, actuarial assumptions are going to cost this much. We do have the historic evidence of the previous system having quadrupled costs. We are comfortable with the cost containment measures that are currently in place. That's not to diminish some of the customer service issues that we've heard about and can work to address.
Okay, I would like for you to send us what the measures you're talking about in the new system that you think cause cost containment and what you're concerned about. Okay, because I don't think I heard you state that in a broad term, but not in anything specific. Are there any other questions of the witness? No, thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 1404? Anyone to testify for informational purposes only? Thank you, Senator. Any closing remarks?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I move we go into executive session. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, aye. We are in executive session. Oh. Okay, we will not be voting at this time on Senate Bill 1113. Okay, I move that we bring up Senate Bill 877. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. Senate Bill 877 was heard last week and modifies the retirement allowance multiplier for certain members of PSRS. Any discussion about that part before I bring up the committee sub? I have a committee substitute ending in .02C that has been distributed. The substitute would affect individuals with 33 years of service or more within the PSRS system and would provide a 2.6 multiplier rather than the 2.55 multiplier. This was done with the help of Senator Beck to make sure these changes would have a positive fiscal impact to the PSRS system. Anybody have any questions? I move that we adopt the committee substitute. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. You have adopted the committee substitute. I now move that we do pass Senate Committee Substitute 877. Do I have a second? Matt, please call the roll.
Senators Black,
Aye.
Gannon, Bratton, Eigel, McCreary,
Yes.
Roberts, Schroer.
By your vote of 5-0, you have passed Senate Committee Substitute for Senate Bill 877. I now move to bring up Senate Bill 1401. Do I have a second? Second. Have a second. Senate Bill 1401 was heard last week and deals with the Mosher's contribution rate for certain colleges and universities. I want to discuss on that before I offer the committee substitute. I have a committee substitute ending in .02C. The committee substitute inserts to the extent that state funds are appropriated and paid. This was an important thing considering that the dollar amount must be paid to the system so that it doesn't have a negative impact on the system. So if the legislature for some reason would not appropriate those funds, then it would be up to those schools to pay for that dollar amount to keep the system whole. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Okay. Are there any questions? I move that we adopt the committee substitute. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. You have adopted the committee substitute. I now move that we do pass the committee substitute for Senate Bill 1401. Do I have a second? Second. Matt, please call the roll.
Senators Black,
Aye.
Gannon, Bratton, Eigel, McCreary, Roberts, Schroer.
By your vote of 5-0, you have do pass Senate committee substitute for Senate Bill 1401. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
No. Am I missing one? Oh, we forgot to do Dave's bill. Rusty forgot to do it.
No.
Thank you. You have covered for me for years. Yeah, if it had been my other bill, you would have, yeah. I got it. Okay. I now move to bring up House Bill 1495. Do I have a second? Second. House Bill 1495 was heard last week and requires the Missouri Veterans Commission to recommend and implement efforts to prevent suicide. Is there any discussion? I move that we do pass House Bill 1495. Do I have a second? Matt, please take the roll.
Senators Black,
Aye.
Gannon, Bratton, Eigel, McCreary, Roberts, Schroer.
By a vote of 5-0, you have do pass House Bill 1495. I move that we move out of executive session. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor say aye. Goodbye.